No list of shark movies would be complete without the granddaddy of them all, Jaws. Steven Spielberg's masterpiece is not just a movie, it's a cultural phenomenon. It single-handedly made millions of people terrified of swimming, wading, or even dipping a toe in the water. The plot is simple. A massive great white shark terrorizes the small island community of Amity, and it's up to a grizzled fisherman, Quint, a nerdy oceanographer, Hooper, and the world's most anxious sheriff, Chief Brody, to stop it. But what makes Jaws the scariest of the bunch? It's not just the shark, it's the tension. Half the time you don't even see the shark, just ominous music, courtesy of John Williams, and terrified faces. And when the shark does show up, it's still terrifying, even if the practical effects are dated. The scene where Quint tells the story of the USS Indianapolis will give you chills, and that final showdown on the Orca is as epic as shark battles come. Also, let's not forget the iconic line, "You're gonna need a bigger boat. You're also gonna need a bigger heart to survive watching this classic." Imagine, you're on a seemingly perfect surfing vacation, and suddenly, out of nowhere, you get bitten by a shark. Now you're stranded on a rock, just a couple 100 feet from shore, with a giant, pissed-off great white circling you. That's the premise of The Shallows, a film that puts Blake Lively through the ringer in one of the most intense solo performances in a shark movie. What makes The Shallows terrifying is how simple and primal it is. There's no need for a giant cast or a convoluted backstory. It's just Blake Lively, a rock, a buoy, and a shark that looks like it came straight from a shark's version of CrossFit. The tension is high as the shark stalks her relentlessly. By the time you get to the final showdown between Lively and this absurdly determined great white, you're practically sweating and shouting at your screen, "Get off the rock!" Also, props to that CGI shark, it looks both realistic and like it's ready to throw down in a boxing ring. Deep Blue Sea is the ultimate example of what happens when you combine science fiction with sharks and crank up the ridiculousness to 11. In this gloriously over-the-top thriller, a group of scientists is conducting experiments to make sharks smarter. Because, obviously, that's a genius idea. What could possibly go wrong? Answer: everything. The genetically engineered super-smart sharks quickly turn on their human creators and start wreaking havoc in the underwater facility. The sharks in this movie aren't just killing machines, they're solving puzzles, opening doors, and planning ambushes. These are IQ 160 sharks. One of the most memorable scenes in Deep Blue Sea is Samuel L. Jackson's epic monologue about teamwork, right before a shark leaps out of the water and drags him down in one of the most hilariously shocking moments in movie history. The film is a wild ride from start to finish, with sharks that have not only teeth but also brains that would make Einstein jealous. It's a schlocky, bloody, and undeniably entertaining shark movie that's perfect for anyone who likes their horror with a side of cheese. Two sisters go on a fun vacation to Mexico and, naturally, they decide to go on a shark cage dive. What could possibly go wrong, right? Just about everything. When their cage gets detached from the boat, they plummet 47 meters down to the bottom of the ocean. Now they're trapped, low on oxygen, and surrounded by hungry sharks. 47 meters down does an amazing job of playing on two deep-seated fears: claustrophobia and the terror of the unknown that comes with being stranded underwater. The constant tension of the dwindling oxygen supply combined with the ever-present threat of shark attacks is enough to make your chest feel tight. The sharks themselves are almost secondary to the oppressive feeling of isolation at the bottom of the ocean, where no one can hear you scream, or breathe, for that matter. The ending will leave you gasping like you've been holding your breath for 90 minutes. It's a suffocatingly tense shark movie with just enough bites to keep you on edge. If you're in the mood for a giant, prehistoric shark that makes even Jaws look like a goldfish, look no further than The Meg. In this ridiculous spectacle of a movie, a team of deep-sea explorers accidentally releases a 75-foot megalodon from the depths of the ocean. Enter Jason Statham, the only man on the planet capable of defeating this massive shark with sheer badassery. This movie is pure popcorn fun, a throwback to the days of creature features, but with a shark the size of a school bus. The megalodon tears through submarines, beaches, and just about everything else in its path with an appetite that seems more suited to a black hole than an animal. It's scary. Maybe not in the way some other shark movies are, but it's certainly jaw-dropping to watch a shark leap out of the water and snatch a helicopter out of mid-air like it's a gummy bear. The Meg isn't here to scare you, it's here to amaze you with its ridiculous scale, and honestly, we're all here for it. Open Water is a terrifying exercise in minimalist horror. Based on a true story, because that makes it even more horrifying, the film follows a couple who are left stranded in the middle of the ocean after a scuba diving trip goes horribly wrong. There are no super smart sharks or prehistoric megalodons here, just real, ordinary sharks and the suffocating fear of isolation. The scariest thing about Open Water is how real it feels. The sharks don't do anything that's out of the ordinary. They circle, they bump, and eventually, they strike. It's the sheer helplessness of the situation that makes this film so terrifying. There's no safety net, no boat coming to rescue them, and no amount of clever thinking will save them from what's lurking beneath. The film builds tension slowly, making every ripple in the water seem like a potential death sentence. By the end, you'll be reconsidering that tropical vacation you were planning. Sometimes, a shark movie isn't meant to be scary. Sometimes, it's meant to be so outrageously stupid that it circles back around to being brilliant. Enter Sharknado, a movie about a tornado filled with sharks. Yes, you read that right. The plot is exactly what it sounds like, and it's glorious. Los Angeles is hit by a freak tornado that sweeps up thousands of sharks and sends them flying through the city, chomping on anything and everything in their path. It's up to a group of misfit survivors to save the city from this airborne shark menace. Sharknado knows exactly what it is, a B-movie disaster flick that revels in its absurdity. The sharks are CGI nightmares, the plot is ludicrous, and the acting is gloriously campy. But it's the kind of movie that's so ridiculous, you can't help but have a blast watching it. It's not scary in the traditional sense, but it's a shark movie you'll never forget, even if you try. What do you get when you combine a tsunami with a shark attack? You get Bait, an Australian shark movie that ups the ante by trapping a group of people in a flooded supermarket with sharks. There are sharks swimming through the aisles, lurking among the groceries, and hunting the survivors as they try to stay dry. It's a wonderfully ridiculous premise that leads to some surprisingly effective scares. Imagine reaching for a can of soup, only to realize a shark is waiting behind the cereal boxes. Bait leans into its ridiculous concept, but it also delivers some solid tension and shark action. The confined setting makes it feel like a claustrophobic nightmare, and the sharks are appropriately menacing. It's the kind of movie where you'll laugh at the premise, but you might just jump when a shark bursts out from behind a stack of canned beans. Another based on a true story shark movie, The Reef is the terrifying tale of a group of friends whose boat capsizes in shark-infested waters. With no help on the way, they decide their only option is to swim to safety. But, of course, the sharks have other plans. What makes The Reef so terrifying is its realism. The sharks are real, thankfully, no CGI here, and the tension is built through long stretches of quiet dread, as the friends struggle to stay calm while the sharks circle closer. It's a slow burn of a movie that doesn't rely on jump scares. It's all about the suffocating fear of being hunted by something you can't see until it's too late. The movie's minimalist approach works in its favor, making every encounter with the sharks feel like a life-or-death struggle. It's one of the more grounded and realistic shark movies out there, and it will leave you on edge long after the credits roll. Closing out our list is Shark Night 3D, a movie that asks, what if a group of college students went to a lake, only to discover that the lake is infested with a variety of sharks? That's right, this isn't just any shark movie. This is a movie with freshwater sharks that have been placed in the lake by... Well, we won't spoil it for you, but let's just say the plot is gloriously insane. Shark Night 3D is the kind of movie that knows exactly what it's doing. It's full of over-the-top kills, ridiculous plot twists, and sharks that seem to come out of nowhere. The 3D effects are cheesy, but that's part of the fun. You'll find yourself dodging CGI shark bites and rolling your eyes at the absurdity of it all, but you'll be entertained the whole way through. While it's not the scariest movie on the list, Shark Night 3D earns its spot for sheer entertainment value and for giving us sharks in a lake, which is a plot twist no one saw coming. We can't finish this list without giving a shout-out to the absolute absurdity that is Ghost Shark. Yes, it's a movie about a ghost shark. This shark can appear in any body of water, from a pool to a puddle, and it's out for revenge. It's not scary in the traditional sense, but it's so weird and ridiculous that it has to be seen to be believed.